Welcome to another edition of Papa Bojo's Kitchen. Today I'm going to make a Polish German American style cabbage steaks. If you're from Poland or from Germany, you probably maybe have never heard of this, but boy, you should give it a try. It's really great, and this is my specific recipe. I also have some sweet potato cut up that I'm going to take and roast those as well, along with the cabbage as it's cooking. Here are your ingredients. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to get our cut sweet potatoes into a pot of water, bring it to a boil, and cook them until they are fork tender. Next, we're going to remove all of the loose leaves from the cabbage head. We're not going to throw these away. We're going to cook these along with the cabbage. Next, we're going to cut this end off so we have a flat surface to cut our steaks. Next, we're going to cut the round edges off on both sides. And I'm going to cut this into 3 equal segments. Note that I leave the root on here because that holds all the cabbage together while it's roasting. Now in a pot, I'm going to add my oil and my butter, and I'm going to melt it thoroughly. Once the butter and oil are melted, I'm going to add in my onion and my kielbasa. Now you can use bacon and fry bacon to make bacon grease too, and the marjoram and caraway seeds. I'm going to cook this until the onions are tender and the kielbasa just as nice and brown. When your mixture looks like this and your kielbasa is nice and crisping up, turn the heat off and let it set. While we're waiting for our potatoes to cook, I'm going to put some olive oil down on the aluminum foil here. I'm going to sprinkle this with a little bit of coarse salt. Then I'm going to lay my cabbage steaks down on one side. I'll leave this side here for the potatoes and for the extra cabbage leaves that I'm going to dice up. Now I'm going to salt each one of these liberally. Then I'm going to add some pepper. Now I'm going to tilt this pot and I'm going to brush each one of these with some of this oil and butter mixture. Make sure you add enough because this is where the flavor is going to come from inside your cabbage. Now I'm going to spoon this kielbasa and onions on top of each one of these. If you notice, I saved some of this butter and olive oil. I'm going to use that to toss my potatoes in when they're cooked. So I'm going to lightly toss all my chopped cabbage greens. Then I'm going to add them to one side of this open area on the tray. Now they have the flavor of some of that oil and butter. I'm just going to sprinkle just a little bit of red chili flakes in this cabbage. Now my potatoes were fork tender and I've strained them. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stir them up in this oil and butter. I'm going to sprinkle in some salt. I'm going to sprinkle in some pepper. After these potatoes have absorbed all of this liquid, I'm going to put them in the tray. And I'm going to place this into a preheated 400-degree oven until the cabbage is nice and tender. So it's been about a half hour. And these look nice and tender. Taking a toothpick, it goes nice and tender. There's a little bit of firmness, but that's what I want. Potatoes are nice and tender. And this, when you see these brown pieces, don't think they're burnt. That's caramelization. That's a lot of good flavor in these separate leaves. So now to plate this, I'm going to take one of these and carefully move them over to the center of my plate. I'm going to spoon some of these potatoes around the edges. I'm going to add some of these toasty greens around here as well. For the greens, I'm going to add just a splash of vinegar. And for the potatoes, just a little bit of paprika and a slight touch of parsley over my cabbage. And here you have it, a great Polish German American cabbage steak. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Papa Bojo's Kitchen. I hope you come and see me again. Smacznego, guten appetit. Bye.